Hi everybody, welcome to live sessions. Um, yeah, today has been a day. I'm just gonna be super honest with you. It's been a hard day, but we have an awesome show today. We got two people in a row this month, so I mean, considering the summer, I feel like that's a win. With all the cancellations and everything we've had, so yeah. You'll be seeing me in a different spot soon because I will be moving again. Yeah. Basically, where I'm at just didn't work. That's really what it comes down to. What I thought was going to be an awesome opportunity for change was not. So, yeah. We're definitely changing and it's definitely going to be different, but it'll be okay. I don't know if the plans for what I had for the beginning of the year are going to be followed through with due to the fact that some changes are going to happen. So I don't know that I will continue after January for a little bit. I might take a couple months off just to figure stuff out. So if anybody has questions about that, just let me know. Because I know a lot of people wanted to kind of do interviews next year, so I don't know right now. Just things are up in the air. So I just kind of wanted to give everybody a heads up. But other than that, I think that's everything for the day today. We have somebody new that's on this tonight, and they haven't been on before, so I'm really excited about that. So yeah, let's bring him on. Kid Coffin, let's go. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, one
Okay.
second. Yeah, I can hear you pretty well
Okay.
now.
I think I'm going to do this thing. Okay. Put you back on the thing. There we go. Okay. Wasn't sure if you could hear me because I couldn't hear you very well, but I realized my thing was all the way down. So,
Yes, no worries at all.
all right. Well, thanks for coming on. I'm sorry it's been kind of crazy today. We went out of town and I was like, I have to get back, and then we got in traffic, and I was like, stressing we weren't going to get back in time. So,
Oh yeah, no worries. No worries. You guys are based out, I was watching profile, you guys are based out in Seattle?
yes.
Yes, wow. So I'm literally on the other side of the continent. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I definitely I've had so many people from that side, like mostly Nashville, but like that side of the country too. I mean, I feel like that side, I used to feel like the West Coast was mostly like music based, but I feel like y'all over there have just taken over here.
Oh yeah, man. East Coast, we got a couple things cooking up over here. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, big time.
yeah. So why don't you give us kind of a I know I read some of your stuff today, but I kind of would like to everybody to kind of hear from you, like how you got into music and like where this love came from of trying to get into it, and or I guess succeedingly getting into it, and all that kind of stuff. I just kind of want you to tell them. I feel like coming from you wouldn't be as like good.
Absolutely, yeah, no, like so, I was I'm about to be 25 in a few weeks. I started making music probably when I was like I started writing around 14, 15. I was a bit of a burnout kid, didn't really do well in academics or any kind of school, was always smoking cigarettes and doing things I shouldn't be doing. And I had finished high school and I didn't really have a way that I wanted to go. And I bought a little notebook and I just started rhyming, just putting words together. Wasn't even writing songs, it was just rhyming, rhyming. I became obsessed with it, just making, if I could make, a sentence and every single word rhyme in that sentence but still grammatically make sense, it was like a rush. And then eventually, I'd always listened to hip hop. I'd always listened to hip hop, always very older hip hop. Most of the people, my age that were listening to music at the time, everyone was into Drake, or Kendrick was just starting to like be big and stuff, and I was still listening to like Mobb Deep and KRS-One and like the old school stuff, and basically, when I graduated high school, I said, you know what, to hell with it. I went to the music store. I emptied my bank account from the 2 years that I spent in high school saving up, working at a grocery store as a
Yeah.
cake decorator. Um, Walked to the front door with $1,500 of recording equipment. My mother goes, what the hell is all of this? And I go,
Yeah.
well, I figured out what I want to do with my life. She goes, oh, that's so exciting. And I go, I'm going to be a rapper. She goes, get the heck out of here, right? Especially just like no musical background in the family. But it all really just started from like writing stories. It didn't have to fit on a musical track per se. It was more like spoken word. And then as I practiced, I took my first degree in music business. I met other like-minded people like me. My producer, who I've worked exclusively for 10 years now, Blossom Complex. He's one of the most talented producers on the east coast of Canada, like beyond talented. They can do everything from orchestral to trap hip hop, like it's all over the board.
Wow.
But the whole way I guess I really fell in love with it was I was able to express myself in a way that wasn't limited by the parameters that somebody else set, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was something that from start to finish, I selected the track. I could select the words. I could select how the message was conveyed, the cadence of the message. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And, I did it for like a solid 5 or 6 years. Put out a couple albums, couple EPs. But just in the last year, I had the lucky opportunity to open up for Afroman. And then after Afroman, a month later, Tech Nine came. A month later, Dax came. Then we toured, me and my label, Ibex Music Group, one of like the upcoming labels on the East Coast. We toured all of Eastern Canada last March. And now it's kind of like coming to a point where like I kind of see the light in the tunnel. So, but the love really just came from the reactions, of people. And someone, I remember getting a message from someone in Chile, which is like way across the world. And it was all broken English, and they were like, just keep going. And they said the track name, and they sent me a video of them listening to it, and they're like, love, love. And after that, it just kind of like made it like really apparent to me, like, I felt like I had to do this.
Yeah.
It felt like something. I could do so many other things, but I just felt so at home. So that's kind of like how I got into the music. But it's been a journey, and it still is a journey. I'm enjoying every minute.
That's awesome. Yeah, reading your story was kind of very interesting.
Yeah.
It, like just your EPK and just how you kind of have been able to really break out and people really see your music and really come to support you. It was an amazing like kind of uh, e- energy, I guess I would say, that you have with all of the people that support you. And I've kind of was going through like comments and stuff like that on your Instagram and stuff, and just seeing like what people say, and just out of curiosity. And you really do have like a really awesome fan base. Like they seem so just like really in tune and really like want to support and get you rise you up.
And it's crazy too because like the moment like it really didn't start until like the Afterman show, like because the shows went from like 100 people to that was about 1,000, 1,200. And my label owner Hotter, who also makes music, Hotter Music, they have backed my set because I go very very fast, which you'll hear soon. I go very very fast. So like for sometimes, especially on a live stage performance, I need that second to breathe in, and so that's where they kind of come in. They get the last two words, and then I can go right back into it. And I remember coming off the stage, and this person just came up to me, and they bought every piece of merch that I had there, every CD, and that person has been at every show since. And it's just kind of like funny to like see like I never ever thought there would be like a fan base, and now there's a small little group. They message me every here and there. I don't know how much you know about Nova Scotia, but we have a place called Cape Breton, which is at the tip of the island, and like this is the country, no cell reception, nothing.
Yeah.
like nothing but hunters, woods, and fireplaces. Um, and it's a 6 hour drive from the capital of Nova Scotia, Halifax. And they drive down every single show, whether it's a 20-person show, 100-person show, big artist, doesn't matter. So yeah, the connections I've made with people through music, it's been really like taking me back, like how much of an impact I've had. So, which I think is important. That's something
Oh,
like, it's you can make music for yourself, but at the end of the day, you're trying to convey a message or convey an image to have an impact on someone, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's really amazing. I think that's awesome. It's definitely something that, um, I think it once you start seeing those people coming in and that base coming in of people that are supporting you, and then feeling that feeling of just like humbleness of like, oh, I really do like this really is real, and these people really do appreciate what I'm doing, and like all this work and all this time and all this effort and blood, sweat, and tears, it all is paying off through all these people that are getting something out of what I'm saying, and they're really listening to what I have to say. And I think that's you start to learn that you have a voice in the world, I think, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah,
we're
exactly.
what you want to say rather than what you were saying like other people want to say it.
Yeah, no, it's surreal. It really is surreal, and it's a really humbling experience too. When like
For,
somebody buys your CD, it's like to them it's just like, oh, this is 10, 15, $20, but like to me it's like wow, you really want to hear it. Like that's incredible just to sit down and create something from scratch and it touch someone like that. It's pretty incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. I mean, I'm a musician too, and the songs that I've put out, I definitely like. Sometimes I'm just like, how do people like? It's interesting that you can make people feel something so deeply,
Mm,
so
yeah.
incredibly uh, profound, or however it is that you were feeling in that moment. And so, I really find it's really awesome to just sit back and go, thanks, guys. Like
Yeah.
it. Even with like doing this, like for me, like this show, it's been 4 years, but like so many people have just stayed glued and like supported in ways I never even knew. And I'm the same as you. I'm just like, okay, like
Yeah, it's here, right? It's here, but it just goes to show if you don't put it out there, you never know,
exactly.
right? You
Yeah,
never know. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, what made you kind of gravitate to with all the genres of music? What made you go to rap? Like, what was the initial?
Well, I can't sing. I actually just started my first vocal lesson yesterday,
Wow.
and so I'm starting to learn how to sing, and I want to start branching out more to like R&B and more like I would even say like, geez, I would even say like One Direction type sound,
Okay.
hip hop, putting that into like hooks and melodies and just being able to like, I've written so many songs where I've like, oh my God, like I'm singing in my head, but the second it comes out my voice, it's not the
Yeah.
sound, right? I guess the main reason I got into hip hop is I come from like a heavy metal rock and roll family,
Oh.
and I always thought the instruments overpowered what the person was saying. I can never make it out clearly, and that always bothered me because like I
Mm,
guess like vocals is like something that like you could play me the hottest beat, but if I can't connect with what the person says on top of it, I disconnect. So I think for me with rap, it was the vocals was the forefront of the song compared to a lot of genres like where the music, at least that I grew up in, where the drums were the forefront or the guitar was the forefront. So I kind of just gravitated to it more because I've always been like someone that's like really attached to words, I guess, and vocals and just so coming from that background and nobody in my family ever in the hip hop. Um, it just kind of like it just pulled me right in. I also, one of the first CDs I ever got was a Much Music 2000s compilation CD, and the first track on it was Eminem, My Name Is.
yeah.
And I think from there, and then like the second track was oh my god, I can't remember the artist's name. Oh my god,
And
and a six form Paula. Oh my god, it's classic hip hop song. Anyway, it was like a lot of hip hop jams, and it was like the first CD I
was
owned, and I just kind of
he?
I was like, yeah. As soon as I heard it, it was the one. I wish I was a little taller.
Yeah,
Wish I
I was
was a
gonna say the guy
taller.
thinks he's small, or he's saying
Yeah.
he's short.
Wish I
Yeah,
had a girl I
yeah,
could call her.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that when I heard that,
Having
I was
a
like,
hat with a bat and a 6 foot ball. Yeah,
yeah. So as soon as like I started hearing that kind of music, I just was like, wow, like this I connect
yeah.
with, you know. So I think it was just the connection to the vocals, to the storytelling, um, and I guess like just compared to rock and roll and heavy metal, I guess more related to the message.
Mm-hmm.
Of like the stories were a lot more about struggle and pain compared to I want to rock and roll all
Yeah,
night. And I was just like, okay, yeah, all of us want to rock and roll,
yeah.
right? But like, when someone tells like a life story of like how they couldn't pay rent and they had to do this and this and this, you're like, wow, like so yeah, I think that the
Or
vocals just
it's
captivated me.
more this like, I think rap just kind of is not that it's more like emotional, but it's just more relatable.
Yeah,
They have some of it. I'm not saying all of it. Like Eminem, there are some things we all could just be like, bro, you could step off the stage for that
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. Agreed. Yep,
yeah.
yep, yep,
But that
yep.
coming from a serious Eminem fan, like I love Eminem,
Yeah,
but there are some things where you're like, nope,
no,
I don't know.
no, too much, too much.
Bonnie and
Um,
Clyde, nope, nope.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
exactly.
some
Keeping
of it,
those
you're just
tracks,
like,
yeah.
so
But
it's
yeah, it was a
interesting that
lot of
you rap.
Eminem. It was a lot of Mobb Deep. It was a lot of 50 Cent. It was a lot of Big Punisher was a massive one for me. Another big one was Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
Um, and another big one for me was Outkast.
Uh,
Those were kind of like the biggest influences that I listened to growing up. A bit of Ice Cube here,
yeah.
there, too. And Ice-T from Law and Order. Because
Yes.
I watched a Law and Order episode, and then I found out he was a rapper. And then for like 2 months, I
Yeah.
was on him. And then I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like I'm over it now. But yeah, I've always it's been weird because most people, like with my friends and stuff, they'll play music, and I'm like, like it's the most popular song on the radio, and I'm like, and then like I'll show them like, listen to this, and it's like a rapper like, and they're like, dude, it's too much, and I'm like, no, but like you gotta listen, right? Like
Yeah.
so, yeah. But I think hip hop, yeah, it was the vocals, just the vocal being the
Yeah.
forefront, the storytelling, yeah,
Yeah. I'm a drummer by trade, so like if it doesn't move me in the first 30 seconds to a minute and I don't hear the beat like drop,
yeah,
or some sort of good beat to it, then I'm like next.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
or the
And I still
like
I do like rock and roll too. I'm a big fan
mm-hmm.
of Kansas, Blue Oyster Cult. I really
Oh
I like some heavy metal too. Korn's my favorite band by far. Big, yeah. Freak on a Leash and
yeah, they swell.
Falling Away from Me. Like all those
Ah,
tracks, man. Just wow. Yeah.
yeah, that
But
song is probably one of my very favorites of theirs. Like that song just takes the cake for me of like
yeah,
high school. Like that was the best song to play, the most one where you could show off, like the
yeah.
most fun to play. Like I just yeah, Corn is
And
a
it's
whole
so funny. I only found that band 2 years ago.
what?
So I had seen them. I had seen them on like a South Park episode when I was like 9 or 10, but I didn't bother looking them up. Like
What?
Remember Corn was on
Yeah,
South Park for like this one
yeah.
episode. And then when I started college, like 5 or 6 years ago, I met a buddy of mine who had 10 years on me. And he's like, "You ever heard of Corn?" And I was like, "I watched them on South Park once." And then he showed me all of it, and I was like, "Oh man, love it, love it." So
I love
yeah,
I've been into them since like I'm definitely gonna show my age, but like 98, I think.
yeah,
Pretty sure that was Freak on a Leash.
yeah,
Uh, and
yeah.
they were just them and Metallica and like Pearl Jam were like
Pearl
huge.
Jam's dope. Pearl Jam's
And
dope.
Nirvana. Like that was it was all
Nirvana.
them,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And then yeah, and Pop came out with all the boy bands and stuff, and so that became more popular than grunge at that point,
yeah,
and the like I guess they're kind of I guess Korn's kind of rock, alternative rock, or maybe they just really are rock. I've never really figured it out, but um, that whole genre kind of shifted and changed, and like into all these people that uh, like were like, I don't know, pop rock, I guess, like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, and this like they became
Yeah,
popular in the new genre of rock, and so I don't know. I just thought it was so interesting. But that whole era of music, as far as that goes, was amazing. Like it was just so cool to like really be a part of that uh, eclipse of how it all came into fruition for everybody, and shifted music and all of that. But it's interesting
yeah.
that
I don't think it'll ever happen again. That kind of sound will never happen again.
no, ever.
No, it just won't. No, no, it's
I don't
classic.
think
Yeah,
anything from right now on, or actually maybe like I would say 2007 is when it kind of Fall Out Boy is when everything kind of like,
yeah, yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah,
like kind of
agreed.
stopped there. And you have your like gym class heroes, and all of the like Panic of the Disco. That's when the really like punk era came in, or emo punk, whatever. And
Yeah,
when it kind of came in, and then now it was like once that kind of started to fizzle, and now they're considered old because they're like 10 years old or so now. So like now it's like all these like punk or these poppy people, Justin Bieber and all this stuff. And you're like, what happened to like that good old like Eminem or 50 Cent or
yeah,
Dr. Dre or Linkin Park? You're like that kind of like just fucking great music,
yeah.
And
Emotion,
yeah,
emotion.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
feel it, man. I get it. Like I'm right there with you. I grew up in all of that, and that was my high school, and it was just amazing.
yeah.
Like I feel it. I do not know why I'm yawning.
Oh,
Like
it's all good.
I can't even. I'm so awake. It's not even funny, and I'm just like, why? Why is this happening? Um, but yeah, I love it. I think it's amazing, and I think it's so cool how you've like been able to use that as like a platform to get to now. Like, who would have thought that sort of music would kind of also elevate you
Yeah,
to like do now? Like I wouldn't have guessed that.
and there's a lot of songs too, like I like in my terms of genre, like I do rap, but I also do like heavy metal rap.
Oh,
I have a big battle rap background, like a big battle rap background. Like I did battle rap way before I did the music for
wow.
5 years or so.
Okay.
Um, so kind of like 8 Mile, but no beats, totally a cappella. So it was
Okay.
basically just spoken word.
Yeah.
Um,
You're kind
and
of
so
wild and out in it.
sorry.
Why? Do you know the show Wild and Out? I think
Yes, 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 yeah, yeah,
kind of like that,
yeah,
where it's like just going head to head.
yeah. When Conceited, he's like DJ Rex cut the beat and there's
Yeah,
no beat.
yeah,
That's yeah. I grew up in that. Yeah, that's because my issue was I couldn't rap in time. I couldn't stick to a count of a beat. So I liked battle rap because I could then do whatever.
whatever you want.
But then I had a lot of success in that locally, and then somebody said you should really consider making music, yada yada yada. Um, and I was kind of like, oh, I tried that. I don't think it's for me. I'm just gonna do battle rap. And
Yeah,
then like I looked at like how big battle rap is, and I was like, yeah, I should probably give the music a go.
yeah,
Like
that's
it's big, but there's only so much to do
yeah,
in
yeah.
battle rap, right?
I
But
think Eminem made that popular in the 2000s, and then it kind of just went.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there's still some like big international leagues and stuff, but like there's nothing compared to what you can do in music,
Yes,
obviously. Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, that's how I got into it. Was just like really the vocals just really touched me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
where does the what comes first for you? Are you more like I'm gonna write it all out and do all the words, and I have this like idea in my head of what I want and then do the beats, or seek out the beats? Or do you go to like a producer and seek them out, or do you do them yourself?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, so Blossom Complex is my producer, and I've exclusively only worked. So every track I've ever put out, which is probably 50 to 70 tracks, is all the same
Oh,
producer, all the same mixing engineer, the same
wow.
mastering engineer, and it's all the same person.
Wow.
This person I had met in college, and at the time they only did orchestral music, and then they started fooling with hip hop production, and then it got to a point where, yeah, I just kind of decided, a lot of people like will pay $1,000 for an exclusive beat, and the rate, now it's different, but back then it was $80 for a mix, master, and an exclusive
Yeah.
beat. So I just kind of stuck with that, and then over time, their production got so much better. I got so much better as an artist, and now just like in the last, I'd say like the last two EPs and the last four singles I've released, we're really starting to find a sound that works,
Yeah.
and a sound that people are responding to.
Yeah.
But usually, how I write is it all really depends. There are some songs that I've written. Um, and they could be sitting in my notepad for a year before I find the right beat. Usually, I find the right beat. Um, I'll then take a blank piece of paper and I'll write down three emotions or three topics or three
Hmm.
subjects.
Okay.
And then, kind of like a brainstorm, I circle them and then I branch out. And then, after I do that, 20 things are on the paper. I pick three that I really like. And then I try to start the story with that. And then it kind of goes from there. So, some of my best songs were and fastest songs are written in 10 minutes. And then some of my best songs are written in 3 months. It's really just kind of like it kind of just like it's kind of like lighting a matchstick when it hits the cardboard and it strikes right, it just goes. But yeah, usually I sit with a beat first for a little while and I kind of like think of what I want to portray with it. And then, yeah, after I get all my ideas together, I pick the best that I like and then I just start writing it line by line by line by line. Then after I write the whole song, I then go back and I proofread it and then I'll make edits to certain words or certain sounds or certain deliveries until I get to the final product where I'm happy.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of much, uh, it sounds like that's kind of much the same as a lot of rappers. Like they just kind of start with that. And I'm always curious because I'm waiting for like the rapper that's like, I like this beat. And then, oops. And then, I hit the thing and it fell. Um, they're like, I like the beat, I like the beat. And then the words come. It just seems like everybody has like the words. I'm not a rapper, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, but like it just seems like it's always the opposite, and I find it so intriguing because um, I would think that like with everybody you'd want that because that's like the solid base of kind of what uh, people are gonna because it's like a revolving. Well, I guess if you can change it, but most of the time it's like a revolving like same beat, right? Same
Yeah.
melody or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just find it kind of interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, like sometimes, like I'll write it in 20 minutes and I'll look at it and I'll go, how the hell did I come up with that?
Yeah, I can
And then
imagine.
other times I'll get stuck on a line for 3 months and I'll be like, no, like, gotta go back to the drawing board. And then eventually it just goes, ah,
Yeah.
and then it just snaps. I'm also very, very, like, very, 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 very ADHD.
Oh,
So like
that does.
yeah, my brain goes 1,000 miles a minute.
Yeah.
Like even talking to you right now, like I've already thought of like three lines. I'm thinking of what I gotta do tomorrow for business. I'm thinking of like I'm just so I think that really helps a lot in terms of songwriting because it just never stops.
Yeah.
The thoughts never stop. The words, the rhymes never stop.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's kind of how like I like to sit with it for a bit and then I write out some ideas and then I try to put it all into paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah.
That's really cool that you had the same producer for like, would you say 50 songs?
Yeah, 50, 75 songs. It's almost 10 years now. Like 50 songs that are out and probably another 150 that never saw the light of day.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did see you had a lot out though. I was trying to like pick through some, like I should have wrote down the names of them, but I was picking through some just to like listen,
yeah,
and to get the flow of like when you kind of first started to like how you've eclipsed to now. And
yeah,
um I can definitely tell there's a shift, dude. Like you've definitely grown in that your lyrics and your how you've written and what you're writing about, and like it was cool. I think we drove for like 2 hours and I probably listened to like in that whole time, I don't know, 15 or so songs, and
Oh
just
yeah, no way, no way.
to like get an idea. That's kind of what I do is I like to try and get an idea of what like the artists. I couldn't tell you the names though, man. Like for real, I should have wrote
Oh
them down.
yeah, no, 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 no,
But
I won't quiz
I
you.
was just trying to get a feel for it. Like I understand this dude. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, in like for me, like I always felt the lyrics were always there, even from the beginning.
yeah,
It was just the sound wasn't there.
yeah,
Like I kept felt like a lot of people were like, man, you sound a lot like Eminem, and I was like, okay, let me try this. And then people were
yeah,
like, you sound a lot like this guy, and a lot like this guy, and then eventually I just got to a point where like I didn't really care anymore what anybody thought. I just
yeah,
kept doing it, and now I've gotten to a point where like I hear it and I'm like, yeah, not I can't think of someone that's not Eminem, that's not this, that's not that. It's Kid Coffin. So it just goes to show like like don't one of my favorite quotes is you gotta if you want to do anything in life and you're not willing to put 5 years and not get anything out of it, don't even bother.
yep,
Because that's literally took me 6.5 and then it started clicking and
yeah,
clicking and my producer was like, "Oh man, like where did you get this new flow?" I'm like, "Oh man, your voice, like I really like the way you're hitting everything." And then it got to a point where we'd finish songs, 3 years ago, and be like, "No, this is really good. This has potential." And now we finish songs, and we're like, "Oh my god, if this ain't it, we don't know what it is, right?"
yeah,
Um, but that's the love of music. It's just
yeah.
it keeps the more you practice, it keeps getting better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that's the great thing about music is it can evolve, and with
yeah,
you go, and grow, and like I think that's the great thing that makes it like the genre that us as creatives and musicians stick with it that long. Not a lot of people can stick with something that long,
no,
and even like children that do music, a lot of them don't because it's like this. It's the long haul. You really have. You're right. You really have to just stick with it, or else it
yeah,
find your own. Uh, I guess you're right. Like the voice,
yeah,
your own kind of sound, your own kind of beat, your own kind of what you hear, and what's the, you know, if somebody listens to it, they're like, oh yeah, that's Kid Coffin. Like that's
yeah,
on. And so I feel it's so hard for people to even stick it out long enough to even get to that point. So applaud to
yeah.
you.
Well, thank you, but thank you very much.
25. I mean, that's what you were 17 when you started then?
Yeah, my first
18?
album came out when I was 18,
Yeah.
18 or 19.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that was called Dreams, the first album,
Yeah.
um, and it was all like a lo-fi production, like even like the vocals and everything, like it sounds like home recording, but that's kind of like the feel I wanted. And I also looked around and I was like, yeah, this is a home
Yeah.
recording, so why don't we like not try to make it like we're not a $200,000 studio because we know it won't sound like that, and try to do more of a home recording because back then like our gear was still very basic too.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, we saved up money, we got more gear. Now we're rocking some pretty professional, $1,000 mics
Yeah.
and really trying to get the best equipment to do the job. Um, but yeah, it kind of like yeah, and it's funny you had said that it's like an evolution of like how the sound changes because an old song of mine came on my just had my phone plugged into my car. I was listening to it and I was like, oh my god, like what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like it was still good, but it was like oh my
Yeah.
god, like I could tell like I sounded like a beginner in front of a microphone, right?
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's like anything, it takes time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
I know. I have that kind of aha moment too of like, man, like from that I started playing music all together when I was 9, but I didn't really start writing until I was 19. And
right.
oh my God, like the things I'm like, man, I really like thank God I grew out of that. Like
Yeah,
so like like
yeah.
I
Well, because when I
I'm like,
started, I was only making horrorcore music.
oh wow,
So
okay.
I only made like my first song was called Bodies, and it's so funny because people they're still like, "Are you gonna play that song tonight?" And I'm like, "No way in hell am I playing that song." And the song was all based upon like how like when you, everybody dies. Like we're all just bodies at the end of the day. And it was like a really dark, like there was lines in there about like the Vegas concert shooting. There were lines in there about like human centipede horror movie films. I guess like my main thing was like I just wanted to like be edgy and be like,
Yeah.
like
Right.
listen to me, like I'm dark and I'm
Yeah.
edgy. And then eventually it kind of got to a point where actually my parents were like, there's only so much you'll do with that, right? Like you need to start making stuff that's a bit more marketable in a sense where like you don't have to change who you are, but like you can't just rap about negativity because then you're only going to attract that certain
Yeah.
negativity crowd, right?
Yeah.
And it took me longer than it should have to realize that, but we all go at our own pace.
I think we all do it, and same with me. I had that same thing. So I agree.
Yeah,
It's all you kind of have to, again, you have to find your niche. And if you're a sad songwriter, then you're a sad songwriter. I mean, look at Eminem. He's been around 20 years, and he's been doing shit music like that for years.
yeah,
You know, like
yeah,
I mean, he found the negative part of it, and that's what gets him through life, and that's how he did it, and whatever. So I agree to that to a degree. Like I
yeah,
agree at the same token, you put out what you want back.
yeah,
And so if you're just somebody who I know plenty of people who write sad songs or angry songs or whatever, and they get back what they get the people that they're putting out, right?
yeah,
So I think that everybody kind of has their own music in them of whatever it is that they want to do. And you could be the happiest person and put sad music out and it wouldn't really matter, Like,
yeah, exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
it's whatever you want to do. That's the great thing about music is you could just be whatever you want.
Yeah, that's right. That's
So,
right.
um, but as for now, like, do you want to talk a little bit? I know you had some stuff on your in your website and stuff of like your future, but we can direct people to that like more in depth. But like, what are you doing kind of in the future? We'll play some music here in a second, but I was just thinking like maybe kind of give a good idea of like what you're doing in the future and like what's coming, so people kind of know what to look forward to.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, so right now we've released 4 singles in the last 4 months. Coming up for my biggest project I've ever done, 24-track album.
Jam.
Um, so we've got another 6 singles in the next 6 months, and then the project releases, and then I've got another 10-track EP in the works after that. Um, this album is definitely my best body of work by miles, miles, miles. Very conceptual. It's meant to be listened to front to back. There's 5 skits that lead you to each section of the album.
Wow.
Um, so it's called Emotion Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese concept, essentially where you find that one thing that you love to do in life that can provide you financial stability. It's the ideology that everything else fades, and that's the only thing that you can focus
Yeah.
on for the rest of your life. It becomes your calling, essentially.
Right.
It's the Japanese term for your calling, really. So like it starts off with a skit. There's 4 happy tracks, another skit, 4 sad tracks, another skit, 4 angry tracks, another skit, 6 mixed tracks of mixed emotions, and then it has a skit at the end. So that's really what we're releasing right now and doing rollout for. I've got a new song coming out at the end of the month. I've actually got 3 songs coming out this month. 2 features and then a song off that album called Ha Ha. We just finished a music production for. I'm about to perform in October. I'm opening up for Choc Claire and DJ Maestro, which are really big in Canada, from Toronto, here in Halifax at one of our biggest venues in Halifax, the Seahorse, which is only going to be my second time performing there, which is exciting.
How
Um, and yeah, really right now we're going back on tour in Toronto in December. We've got plans to go back on tour there. And for everything else in the future, I'm kind of just taking things as they come. I'm reaching out to more people in the States, just trying to work with more people, really. I've kind of gotten to a point where, last month I got paid for the first time to do a feature. And it was kind of weird. I was like, oh, wow, I'm not used to it. I mean, that's part of the reason why I want to do it, obviously, but
yeah.
like, it's not really like the art is more important, but the fact that someone listened to me and
Yeah.
was like, okay, there's
Yeah.
worth there,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
was really exciting. So I mean, right now in the future, other than that album, I'm kind of just writing every day and trying to make new connections every day, and just kind of keep pushing myself, my label, forward, and hopefully in 20 years, you know, when I have kids, I'll have something that they can hold on to, and a legacy of some sort, whether big or small, and you know, it's kind of weird, you know, for me, it's never really been about like getting famous or like having that my song in the club. It's always been, you can like or not like my stuff, but you can't tell me I can't rap. You know what I mean? Like it's always like
Yeah.
regardless of how you feel about the music, you have to go, but he can
Yeah.
rap. You know, like he can put words together. Like the dude's good with
Yeah.
words. So that's kind of like what I got in future right now.
That's awesome. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
yeah,
where that confidence comes from, you know? Where, like, at the end of the day, I know I can do it. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't really matter.
yeah,
At the end of the day, you're going to walk away going, all right. I mean, he's got talent. I get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You know, like,
yeah, yeah,
you don't
exactly, exactly.
you don't have to like, and that's, I mean, just with anybody else, you don't have to like them. You don't have to be like, you're my favorite artist of all time, you know, like, but at the end, I think when people start to support you and start to really become a fan is when they're like, okay, that dude's got talent, you know, like
Yeah,
music aside, I respect, you know, and that's
yeah,
where, like, for you being able to be recognized and for someone to be like, hey man, like you should come on our show or whatever, you know, it's like, I think that would be a huge thing because it's when I first got on somebody else's podcast a couple years ago, I was like, really, you want me? Like,
yeah,
why? You know, like, and so
yeah.
it's one of those, I totally understand. Like, you're just like, okay, well, I mean, at least they recognize that I can do what I can do, you know? So,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's always been, especially like the lyrical
yeah,
skill, I guess, is like, and I guess like sometimes I feel like that's like why I rap so fast. Sometimes is like I like to take like what some you could write 3 songs, right, that are six
yeah,
minutes, and I like to take that 6 minute song and put it into 2 minutes and 30 seconds,
yeah.
you know, and just be like, by the end of it, you have to go,
It's a mind.
oh my God, I gotta listen to
Yeah,
that back because I didn't catch everything, right?
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, so it's always been like the skill really is like been a big association for me is like the skill, and I think that's why I gravitate to older hip hop than
yeah.
newer hip hop because
Because it
newer hip hop,
was.
yeah, it's a lot more now. It's a lot more like
Yeah,
production based. It's
yeah,
not based on what you're talking about, which
yeah.
drives me crazy. But you
Not,
know, that's music goes through changes, right? You know,
yeah,
music goes through changes. Who knows? 10 years, the lyrical stuff might come back. You never know. I mean, people are still doing it today, but obviously that's not what's the kids.
yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm a kid myself. The kids listen to. You know, my little brother's like, if you heard this.
I mean, you're kind of, you're kind of
Yeah,
spilling
I know,
the
I know, I
beans.
know, I know, but I'm an old soul. I'm an old soul. Listen, I've been working in bars since I was 18. I worked bars for 6 years, so I saw people of all age groups, the best and the worst of them. So you grow up very, very quickly in that
For sure.
industry. And yeah, the amount of kids that like come up to you, like my little brother came up to me the other day and he's like, listen to this song, and like this dude had so much auto tune on it, like it literally just sounded like. I was like, that's like really, and then like I'll play him like some like old school Mob Deep,
Yeah.
like where he's talking about struggle and pain, and my little brother's just like, yeah, it's kind of cool. And I'm like, kind of cool, right? It's just, but that's a generational
Yeah.
thing, right? It's
It's that
generational.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel, I mean, I always feel super in like, uh, old when people are like, oh yeah, I like with you, seriously, with you getting into corn 2 years ago, like that's funny to me because I'm like, oh my God, we're 20 years apart. And
yeah,
like, you're just now finding it. And I'm like, already been there and done that, you know? So I feel like it's kind of cool because I do the same thing. I'm like, you have to listen to this. And they're like, dude, where did that come from? And I'm like,
yeah,
well, it's better than what you gave me. Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's also, what is that, like in the eye of the beholder, you know? Like it's all what you find you like and what that's what music is and movies and all of that stuff. It's like you just find what you like. And I appreciate it all. I appreciate people that can come up to me and be like, hey, I like this, and I'm like, yeah, I don't, but cool,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I totally get it. I get it. My brother does it to me all the time. He's a musician and he consistently thinks that he's better at music when he's 11 years old than me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, whatever, dude.
Yeah,
I feel,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
but yeah, I think you're to go on the notion of, or the path of you say it so fast. I noticed that you are just like lightning fast, and
Yeah,
made me think of
yeah,
somebody else that does that is like Twister or Twista, whatever, um and also like a Tom McDonald kind of, where he does that too. You have to really listen to the lyrics, like they're fire, but you have to like really gear in, and I feel like that's kind of where I was just like, okay, what are you saying? like,
yeah,
yeah, and,
yeah. And I like that. I like it when people like, I've shown like, even like, my friends can be biased sometimes with my friends, but I have this like unreleased song that's like a really deep storytelling, emotional song,
yeah,
and like we must have rewinded 20 times. And you're like, what did you say there? What did you say there? But that's because I'm going,
yeah,
right? It's just so much coming at you at once. And I think that plays into my
yeah,
ADHD because I'm going 1,000 miles a minute. So when I hear it, I'm catching everything. I'm like, yup, 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 yup. But that's also because like I'm like a 200-mile-an-hour Formula One car with no brakes. I just
yeah.
go, go, just
Great.
go, just go.
That's a great
Yeah.
analogy.
Yeah, yeah, it's
You should
literally
write
they said
about
that's
that.
actually they published that in the book. So I remember reading as a kid in when I was diagnosed with ADHD. They were like, imagine a 200-mile-an-hour Formula One race car with no brakes. You either keep driving or you crash into the wall. There's
Yeah.
no way to stop. So yeah, yeah, it's
Right.
worked out for me so far.
Write about that.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Just
that's a
that would be
great idea. Actually, I might have to put that in the next track. That's a great idea. Actually, I
call
might
it
put that
Formula
line. Yeah,
One, and
yeah.
go.
Yeah, yeah. I might have to try that out. That might be good. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
okay. Okay, so we have a little bit of time left, and I want to make sure people get to hear like some of your music.
Yeah, sure.
So, you want to play a couple, like maybe as many you want,
Yeah, absolutely.
minutes or one whole one or two or whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
sure. I'll play. So one of the four singles I recently released. So this one is actually not the last one I released, not the one before that, but the one before that. So this one is called Takeover, and it's kind of what the song title says.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm taking
Yeah.
it over.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this is a track that's out now on Spotify, Apple Music. It's everywhere. And it produced by Blossom Complex. And yeah, I'll give it a play here.
Cool. I'm gonna mute. People can listen.
Suck, bitch. Back again. Shut the black, bring it back to lens. And I laser trap, then pour it again. Bring my liquor quick with the drum and head. Trap on your waist for the petty cash. Rather beg it for a body back. So I send it head in a body bag with the invoice and a Gucci tag. I'm a Texas creative fashion chief. Couple heat with up his feet. Shut the street, think on the streets. More false hope in the masterpiece. His masterpiece of reality. In absentees with fatalities. His cash is king, his sex is queen. His never so better than jewelry. I'm a form of habit for the sun and magic. And clearly I'm a good Notre Dame. Start rapping, fun, explicit, equipment, linguistic, rock, and simplistic conflict. No witches watching with an eagle eye. Fuck slow, I wrote, yes, it's live. Hard to crash, I'm down to ride. It's my time, you're the mastermind. I'm after boy, making lots of noise. Lots of asteroids all throughout the boys. Play coy, you get destroyed. I'm dead, Daniels, you torch noise. Sound don't shudder when I land. Curse sexy boys with a retro voice. Fuck you, bitch, you made your choice. The talent crown, my head will hoist. I apologize if I come up a bit aggressive. I'm running out of time, I can't wait another second. If I don't make it soon, this rap shit gets a stepping. You will never understand the time and cash invested. So from now on, when I fire shots, it's single weapons. Every line is deadly and meant for the opposition. Blowing up at 30 is simply just not an option. I can hear the kids slowly slipping out his coffin. Big king in a long coat, instinct, little love zone. How do they speak my heart cold? I have the jump like the Broncos. Break a window on the grotto, such a glove box for a snub nose. This 38 like a hard pole, make a bitch drop like a cartoon. Mom rolling a monsoon, she kick a bitch, change costume. Boss man, I lost you. Don't buy what cost you. Sit with that and replay investing. Cut the check where we're slow to that. Paying riddles, script names, and scribble with
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot in that one.
Yeah. Man, the moment it drops to like the slower beat than what you're actually rapping, that's a cool like creative choice, you know, because
Yeah,
you would go into it going almost just as fast, you know,
yeah, yeah.
and
I
maybe
knew I had to slow the hook down a little bit, so there was some sort of somebody could catch like the main point of the song, and I guess the main point was like, like I feel like I'm ready for it, and like that, like I'm running out of time, like I guess, which I know
yeah,
in like real life I'm not,
yeah,
but it was kind of like the feeling and emotion of like, no, I gotta do this now, like
yeah,
not tomorrow, not next week, now.
yeah,
So that's kind of like how that whole song came together, really.
yeah. The lyrics
Um,
are good in that one too. I really like I appreciated that. I was just trying to listen to the lyrics honestly,
yeah,
and I mean, I really appreciate that it is that kind of like see and your choice to I also find it interesting where some rappers like will not swear and others will. And so
yeah,
your choice to do that I think enhances for some of your songs that I heard also enhances the emotion for you.
yeah.
And
I
so
put a lot of emphasis on it. I
yeah,
try not to use too much cuss words. I just try to make sure I use them enough where it kind of like
yeah,
it like jolts the listener. And you're like, okay, all right, hold on, he's serious. Like, listen to what, listen, here he
yeah.
goes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
Um,
one that immediate like, you know, hey bitch.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah,
because
yeah.
I didn't hear it before. So I was like, what? Like, it really gives you that, like, okay, we're in this now, let's go.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. I'm trying to think of like what else can play. I kind of like, I almost want to tease something unreleased.
oh, we love that here. We
Okay,
do
so,
that all the time here.
okay,
Now,
so
remind you, this is going to get a replay. So if you don't want it to be heard at least maybe 50 times, I would not do
yeah,
it. But,
I'm okay with it because it's coming out next month anyway, so it will
okay.
be out soon.
Yeah.
So this song, I don't know if you've ever watched. Have you ever watched the 300 movie with the
Yes.
Spartans?
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah. That's,
the
yeah.
scene where the captain, they finish the battle and the captain, he has his son,
Yeah.
and then the Persian on horseback comes behind him and
Oh,
decapitates him.
yeah, yeah. Oh, God.
So and the captain goes wild, right? The narrator, as the captain's killing everybody, the narrator goes, the captain swings wildly, blood drunk.
Yeah.
So I essentially heard that quote and I said, okay, I want to take that emotion in the movie and make it into a song.
Wow.
So this song is called Blood Drunk,
Okay.
and
What a
I'll just play it and I'll
cool
let you.
note.
There's a
Wait.
sorry.
I said, what a cool, like, notion to take out of that, because that is a really cool line. Like,
Yeah,
dang,
yeah.
man.
So
Yeah.
it's the way it's spelled is it's capital. It's all capitals, blood, and then X in the middle, drunk.
Yeah.
So it looks
Wow.
cool on the
Yeah,
screen
yeah.
too. It looks
I imagine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's slightly
Okay.
darker, not crazy dark, not Bonnie and Clyde dark,
Yeah.
but dark.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So let's see if you like this one.
Okay.
Blossom, you crazy for this one?
Someone was there, but I couldn't see them. Then all of a sudden, everywhere I looked, I saw blood, 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 blood.
Hostile in my door. doorstep. 38 in the porcelain, you live life in the past tense. I'll fuck your daughter on a corset. I got cold sweats on Percocets. I infected death, resurrected sets. Ten minutes of back gas maximum. I'm Maximilian off, that's a one. That's the devil, I'll last forever. Yo, Louis Tombstone, match together. Pick a knife, a gun, you can't make it a run. I make a rapper shit, it breaks like a last. Big rim shit, spinning shit, get tackled, bitch. See, I'm a silver, 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 push it like the burners that press the pace. I'm hitting, kill your wit, break the rule the middle.
Wait till he looks up. Hold on, guys. Sorry. There's no sound. The
Oh, there's no sound?
sound went out.
Oh no, it might be a bit too. It might be too hardcore.
Yeah, the sound totally went, like, right as soon as you hit that the crescendo and it came down, like
The
it.
scream?
Yeah.
Yeah, here. Let me try turning it down a little bit.
You mentioned Dax. You know who Dax is?
Yeah, I opened for him. So I wrote that after I opened up for him in my city. Well,
Holy
actually,
shit.
I wrote it before, and then I played that song. So when Dax was opening in
Yeah.
Halifax, I then went on stage and went, "What up, Dax? What up, Token?" And then the whole crowd just went because it correlated to the
Oh
whole
my.
thing, right?
I didn't even.
Yeah,
I didn't even see that. Okay, or notice. Maybe I did and didn't notice it, but
yeah,
I literally was just thinking that too. I was like, man, this guy really like listen, like has that fast like
yeah,
beat like him too. I
yeah,
literally was thinking that. We were listening to him on the way home, and like me and my friend, he's one of our favorites. Like I love that dude. He's got
yeah,
some sick, awesome like music. But dang, that's cool. I not a lot of people know who he is, so that's
yeah.
awesome.
And I can play. I'll play one last one for
Yeah.
you, and it's a 180. So this is actually like a more
Oh,
sadder song, but
okay.
a lot
Okay.
slower, a lot easier to understand.
Yeah.
Um, so this song just came out. This is actually my girlfriend's best friend. She never
Okay.
made music before.
Okay.
And I got her, one night we were just having drinks at their place, and she just started singing, and I said, "Oh no, 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 no way.
Yeah.
We're doing something,
Yeah.
right?" So this song is called Thick and
Okay.
Thin, and really it's just like being there for someone
Yeah.
through the thick and thin,
Yeah.
really.
Right.
It talks like a lot of personal stories between me and like a friendship that kind of went sour, and then it just kind of talks about like believing in yourself a little bit. But I think you'll find it's much, much different to everything I just played
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Is this one out?
This one just came out last month.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Come hold me close, don't let me go. If you're here through thick and thin, come
we see is not the same. Loving day to day, it's a skill of highest praise. If you have it, be thankful you lived another day.
I hate thinking back. I tend to run away. Missing problems that don't carry a praise. I just got what is my heartache. I say your name and miss my fucking heart shake. Thinking back. I tend to run away. Missing problems that don't carry a praise. I just got what is my heartache. I say your name, make my fucking heart shake.
Dark place, I have a tendency to lie. I was taught to suck it up, buttercup, hold your pride. No one else will wipe tears from those eyes. Nobody else picks on someone their own size. Manifested intelligence, it seems irrelevant. Cleaning up skeletons, fossils share stories of excellence. Next of kin, I give you all I can give you. Whatever I don't have, I'll take and fight for you. I adore you. I adore your mothers too. Promise soon that we'll have a happy family someday too. And that's the truth. If this speaks to you, you're stuck in your shoes with something to prove. Then put your light in the sky. I'll reach for me to you. Till then, keep it loose. You gotta keep it loose. My wish for you. Live life with nothing to lose. Who knows in life you could create something too.
I hate thinking back. I tend to run away. Missing problems that don't carry a praise. I just got what is my heartache. I say your name and miss my fucking heart shake. Thinking back. I tend to run away. Missing problems that don't carry a praise. I just got what is my heartache. I say your name, makes my fucking heart shake.
Come hold me close. Don't let me go. If you're here through thick and thin, come hold me close. Don't let me go. If you're here through thick and thin, come hold me close. Baby, I know. And we'll make it to the end.
That's the last one.
Okay.
Big switch right now.
Okay. Truthfully, I think I like that. I like that flow of you.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like anything else, okay? Don't take it bad.
Oh, no.
But you just like, I think your style sits with that well.
Yeah.
Like just having like because you're so not emotional is the wrong word, but like
Expressive, I
yeah,
guess. Yeah, exactly. You know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, man, I felt that one more than the other one. Like the bloodthirsty one, that one I kind of like. I was like, oh yeah, I feel that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you could totally
yeah.
that.
we didn't give you a choice on that one. That one,
Yeah.
to.
You don't have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. But this one, man, I just loved that. Like more. I don't know.
So remember when I was telling you it was like I was writing songs that like I couldn't perform.
Yeah.
So the hook of that song I wrote, but she performed it.
Okay.
So those were one of those that like I was like I have this idea. Here's the lyrics. Like, could you perform it? Let me know. And then the second she like was recording in the studio and I was with her, I was like, oh, done. Like just done.
Dude,
easy.
as soon as she came on, when you were saying, like, as soon as you heard her sing, I was like, okay, I gotta, now that you've kind of built her up, I was like, all right, I gotta listen. Man, I almost turned and was like, I hear what you're hearing, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I hear what you heard.
yeah. So she just goes by Tess, but that's the only song she has out.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome that you're encouraging that, because she really does have a beautiful voice, like, for sure.
It was one of those things too where I was like, you should really, and like she has her own ambitions and her own goals.
No,
so like music for her is kind of like, oh, it's fun to do, but it's not something I'd want to do. But like as an artist listening to it, I'm like, oh my god, like so much talent.
Yeah.
Raw talent, man.
Believe me, I have seen that, and it's crushing when you're like, God, please.
Yeah.
Like,
so we've got,
if only I had that.
Yeah, so we did that song. That was my last single that just came out, and we have another single together on the same album. It's coming out like in a few months, but yeah, that one was thick and thin.
Wow.
But all the songs I played, except for the bloodthirsty one, that one comes out Halloween night, of course.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah, those are like my 3 most recent singles.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it, man. And I like how diverse you are too. Like, that's the other thing I noticed with kind of listening to is you're very diverse too, which is really awesome. You keep people kind of on their toes, which is how you do it. You know, I think it's great.
Yeah,
Um,
I try to always make sure you don't know what's gonna happen next. So
yeah,
I
do a
yeah.
good job, man, for sure.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I really think that you have. I mean, it's a long road, but like, I think that you'll eventually have this peak where it's just people are gonna find you, and it's gonna be all over. You know,
Oh,
and
thank you. That's so nice of you
yeah,
to say. Thank you. I mean, that's kind of like what I've always thought too. Is like even if every time I'm like releasing a new song, I'm like, if this isn't the one, that's fine because they'll go back to this and they'll go,
yeah,
this should have been the one. Then they'll go back another song. This one should have been. Then they'll go back another song. What? Right? And then
yeah.
it kind of like builds that
Compound.
that repertoire, right? So yeah,
Somebody eventually will hear something that is that trigger, but you have so much music. I mean, I couldn't even get through it all. You have so much music out that it gives whoever is listening a very good idea of who you are as an artist, what you write about, what your flow is, what your style is.
yeah,
So I feel like, it's for people who can understand that kind of flow, as in how fast you're going. I think that's a genre where a lot of people listen anyways because they're just like, this is awesome and I can just hear it.
yeah, yeah,
But also it's also something where I think people really get an opportunity to um like hear your thoughts, and I think that's so awesome because they can get to know you as an artist that way. With so much music out, that's the only way they're going to get to know you, and I think that's you're doing a great job. You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, and regardless of the years compounding on top of each other and music going and keep releasing, I think it's eventually you're very talented, and I think eventually at some point somebody has to see that. And you have a management company, so I feel like they're there to like boost that even 10 times.
yeah. So
Like,
that's my label Ibex. So Ibex Music Group is like one of the most upcoming labels on the East Coast. My producer that I worked exclusively with 10 years. After like four years, I took a break. I do so. I also do I
oh,
do music full time. I do real estate full time now.
wow.
That's been my full time gig. Full time videographer, video editor. And then I was a full-time bartender, and then I just quit that job. Now I'm a full-time Special Olympics head coach for our basketball team for Special Olympics.
Holy cow.
So it's kind of like I kind of try to. I think that's the ADHD again. I do it all,
I was
but I had quit
gonna say,
music.
do you sleep? Like,
No,
just curious.
no. My girlfriend hates it. She hates it. But it's funny, like you had just said, because after like my first album or so, a couple singles after that, I quit for a year.
Wow.
I was like, you know what, this isn't it. I don't got it. You know, it was fun. And I just got a call from my producer one day, and they were like, dude, you gotta just give it another try.
Yeah.
Keep working on it. And then now all the music you just heard is 4 years of doing that. So
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
dude, I I applaud you for staying in it and going back. It's hard. It's hard to do. I've quit this I don't know how many times. I
yeah,
quit music. I've been in music for 20 years, putting music out in the local Seattle scene, and I quit it at least 6 times, at the very
yeah,
least, in 20 years. And I was like, okay, this isn't for me. I can't do it. And then this show, twice I've done it. I'm like, I'm out, you
yeah,
know. And so I think if it's worth something and it gives you something, and there's this callback every time where like, no, uh, that's my dog.
yeah,
There's this callback to yourself of like, man, I really want to do it. I really love it. I really like. You keep kind of yearning or wanting it.
yeah,
And I think if you're really meant for it in some fashion, maybe you're not meant to be famous. Maybe you're just meant to be a local artist, and that's
yeah,
fine. That's what this show is all about. Is just all those people who are like, I don't want to be fucking 50 Cent. I just want to do my music and call it a day.
yeah,
For whatever. So I feel like, I don't feel like everybody has to be famous to be good.
no,
And if this show is any indication, I know plenty of artists that do it full time, travel the country, travel the world, and are fantastic and amazing. And they aren't famous like, 50 Cent or whatever. So, um, I think you definitely have that potential. And I could see you definitely getting, if you aren't on the way now, since you've opened with so many. I mean, you had a list of people you've opened for, and I was like, okay, bro, like I was
Yeah.
free, but
Well,
it's
it's
like,
funny too because like that all happened in 5 months. So like
wow,
so I just got this random call. They had seen me perform somewhere. They're like, Afroman's coming to town. Open up for him. I did it. And then as I'm sound checking at Afroman, the club owner came up to me and was like, "Do you want to open up for Tech Nine next month?" And I was like,
yeah,
"Yeah."
yeah,
And then I did that show, and the club owner goes, "Great set, Dax, next month." And I go, "What?" And I go, "Sure." And then unfortunately, the club closed down due
oh,
to just bad. I don't want to say over what the situation was, but just things happened and it didn't work out.
yeah,
But it was just one of those things, and then opportunity. So I was set to open up for Dave East, and then that got canceled. So now we still got shot clear and stuff. But after that first Afterman show and like the 1,000-person crowd. And just like the screaming after finishing the song, I was just like, oh no, this is like, I'm never
yeah,
quitting again.
yeah,
We're all in, full fucking, excuse my language, full
yeah,
smoke. Like, everyone's getting it. I don't care. Yeah, it just goes to show if you keep working at something and you love something and you nurture it and you do your best
yeah.
to make it into something, then sky's the limit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I think the takeaway really. I mean, you've come in and out of it, and here you are still with 75 songs strong out. And I know several people who've been around a couple of years and don't have that many out. So, I mean, it's definitely accomplishment, and you're just so talented. And I'm excited to see kind of where that leads and how far it leads
Thank
you.
you.
Able to like, if you come to the Seattle area for the help, please let me know.
Well, I certainly will. Well, I was talking to my label owner before, and he was like, "You're going on a show in Seattle, in
Yeah.
Seattle?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Seattle, like United States?" And I was like, "He's like the other side of the continent." I was like,
Why not?
"Yeah." And he was like, "Well, hey, if you make good connection, like who knows? Maybe when we go to Vancouver, because we're planning to go to do a Vancouver maybe later this summer for a
Okay.
small tour. We could fly down to Seattle or something. Who knows?" Who knows?
I got some
Who knows?
people. I got some people I could hook you up with and see if
We
maybe
would
you could
love to.
for
We
them.
would love to. We're
Yeah.
we're a very like our label is not we don't function like a normal label. We're a collaborative. There's no we owe you this or this on royalties or whatever. Like it's all just we all come together and we're just like, what can we
Yeah.
do to make this the best possible experience for everybody? And at the end of the day, hopefully someday make a healthy living,
Of course.
off of it. So yeah, we would love to. We would love to. I'll send you a message after. I'll connect you with him, and yeah, I know he would love to. So, and
That'd
if I come, he'll come. Our Blossom, the producer, will come. We'll all
be,
come.
I would love that. I would love to like see you would be the second person that's been on my show because I actually put on shows too,
Yeah,
and so like festivals and showcases and things. And
right.
so I one person from Vancouver, her name is Robin. She came down and played in my show. Robin, don't kill me, Robin. Phrase,
Yeah,
I think is how you say her name. Robin Phrase. And so it took me forever to learn her last name. I'm sorry.
yeah.
So yeah, so like I'm trying to get more like international people to come here so that we can have more diversity and you guys meld with us and us meld with you guys so that there's more diversity all over, and
It's all about building that
that love
bridge.
you, more people love us, and
Yeah, it's all about building that bridge. No, no, we would love to. We would
yeah,
love to. I already know like my label owner's gonna be like, yes, let's go. So yeah, yeah, yeah. We can talk after and
yeah,
yeah, maybe set something up.
I
That'd be
would
amazing.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
awesome,
Well,
fantastic.
yeah, thanks for coming on, man, and for just having so much fun and just sharing a little bit of piece of your life and your talent. And I really hope that you know you come back and like share your music with us and come back
Would
and
love
be
to.
able.
Would love
Yeah,
to. Absolutely, would love to.
I would love it. I would
Yeah,
with your releases and stuff. Let me know so you can come back and share them.
absolutely. I sure will. I sure
And
will.
I'll
I've got a
do
song
another.
coming out in 2 weeks to keep an eye out for. It's called Ha Ha. And it's
Okay.
actually funny. It's about everybody who laughed and said, "You'll never do it." So,
I love songs. Those are my favorite.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's actually like it's kind of a funny song. I think you'll
Yeah.
like it. But yeah, no, we'll definitely do that. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Well, everybody, as always, go follow them, go listen to music. This guy's got a plethora of music you can listen through the whole day. So just pick through it all and just listen to it and go through. He's got new music out. Like, let's support him. He's in Canada. Like, come on, let's get some love going as we always do here
So
at
you actually
LMS.
like actually before we leave, I'll tell you where exactly. You ever seen Trailer Park Boys?
Yes.
I'm 15 minutes away from that trailer park. That's where I'm from. James at ROC. Oh
That's
yeah. Oh yeah, big time.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
So
Yeah.
Max
Yeah.
More. He's I used to, back when he did his the White Wall song, that video,
Yeah.
he did it in the city I lived in, and I happened to be driving by and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I just stopped and I was like, "Cool, I'm just going to see what is going on." And I mean, this is like a little town, you know?
Yeah.
And sure enough, he's making his video in a little tiny town, and I just stand there. I stood there, well, I sat on the side of the road and just watched. It
Yeah.
was like the coolest thing ever. So I get it, man. When it's like, you're like, hey, do you remember this? And you're like, yes. It's just the coolest thing. I just think it's so cool when people are just that close to things that have been so like
Oh
crazy.
yeah, like Jim Leahy was at my parents' wedding.
What?
Yeah, he actually once bought a sandwich off me walking down the street for two smokes.
What?
When I was like 16.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's and that's so funny too, because like we're Halifax, Nova Scotia, and everybody's like, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, "You ever seen Trailer Park Boys?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "That's where I'm from." And they're like, "Oh my God, you must be fucking out of your mind, right?" And I'm like, "Well, just a little bit,
Just
right?"
I'm 15
But yeah,
minutes.
no, like I can't thank you so much for having me
Yeah,
on, and yeah, we would love to. I know IBEX, we would love to come to Seattle and
yeah,
do a showcase or anything. So, we're all about making connections, so
yeah, for
we would
sure.
love to do something for sure.
Yeah, I definitely have some stuff in mind, so I will definitely talk to you after, and we'll definitely try and hook you up with some of those people because I think you'd really meld well with them,
Yeah,
uh, and get maybe have some connections and see where the networking takes you.
that would
Bringing,
be incredible. That would be incredible.
yeah,
That would be absolutely incredible.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I loved you coming on. Thank you again for coming on,
of
and
course.
can't wait. I can't wait to see where you go and for you to come back. And again, everybody, come on, man, just support them. That's all we ask here, and give them some love. Let us know if you want to have them come back. You know, all that good stuff that we always say. Anything else you want to share before we go?
Um, no, I mean really just thank you to everybody that supported me. Thank you to everybody that told me to keep going. Thank you to everybody that told me to quit. And
Yeah.
thank you to mom and dad and my little brother. Really, that's about it.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight on Tuesday. I know it's been a minute, but see you next week, hopefully with a new person. And other than that, we'll see you later, everybody.
Peace out,
Thanks
everybody.
again.
Take
Bye.
care.